Hi, you're watching Martial Reader. In the previous chapter, Wazzy and Piggy got teleported inside the penalty space, but with pure will and dedication to live, Wazzy unlocked Mushroom Jet Stream and completed the mission in the nick of time. Now on to the next part. After completing the mission, they were teleported back from where they left. Luckily, Piggy fell on Wazzy, softening her fall. Piggy looked at Wazzy with glistening eyes. Wazzy noticed that no matter what happened, she always had a smile on her face. Then he shouted at the system, asking if he could do whatever he wanted since he had cleared the punishment. However, it did not respond, but still, he now appreciated his system, which wasn't useless after all. He had only spent an hour in the penalty space, but it was already night outside, which helped them escape the village head. He tapped Piggy to follow him since no one would bother them now, so it was time for them to change their classes to Brave, while Piggy was staring blankly, entranced with Wazzy as she remembered what he had done back then. He noticed she was not following, so he called for her again, and she happily followed him. Now in front of the materials, Wazzy believes that these snail shells should be the secret in changing class. According to how adamant the village head was, he wonders what's the connection between the divine tree and these snail shell, and how does it help the human class change into Brave. With further investigations, he witnessed the little green lights get absorbed inside the pot, so he took a few of those jars and poured it all in a more bigger one, to be the super class change material. Although he didn't prepare any snail shells, he believes that it should be fine if he borrow from others for a bit. With over 10 portions he borrowed, the Divine Tree Mother should be even happier, so without delay he started to worship, but to his surprise, nothing's happening, so he asks himself if his methods were wrong. But he followed what the village head told the other people to do, so he assumes he needs to empty his heart like they show in those TV dramas and praise the Divine Tree Mother. So he did, but there's no reaction at all. Now he believes that his method of worship is wrong, so he tried another way of prayer, and was committing blasphemy one after the other, and now he was exhausted but still nothing was working. Now he wonders how are humans able to class change by simply leaving the snail shells here. Losing hope, he started to think that monsters are really destined to never undergo class change. Now that his heart has wavered, the system showed up, and was advising him to give up and go back to doing missions and evolve properly, which Wazzy perceived it as a taunt, but he already made it all the way here, so he refused to leave just like that. So he was thinking really hard for a way, and if there isn't, he will make a path himself. But he couldn't concentrate since Piggy is making some noise in the background. So he turns towards her to ask to keep it down, but he saw Piggy is eating the little green lights, which he tells her to stop eating everything she sees, because it might upset her stomach. But surprisingly Piggy leveled up, which he was shocked. Now he wonders where those green energy coming out from the divine tree, so he tried to absorb it, and to his surprise it was an experience points. With this he appraised it, and it is actually a condensed magic power. Now he knows humans can't directly absorb it, so they use the snail shells as a medium to transfer the power to them. He came to a conclusion that the secret to class changing is not the snail shells, but this condensed magic power instead. Therefore he immediately decides to absorb it and tell Piggy to leave some for him. And as they eat more, they leveled up, but few bottles of potions have been used. Wazzy is now exhausted. He leveled up quite a bit, but his mobility as a mushroom is too low. And he was thinking if only he could gather it all in one place and absorb it. Then he tells Piggy to drink some stamina potions too, and advises her not to tire herself too much. But she was still energetic as ever, and was now a level higher than him, making his confidence crumble, as he really can't beat Piggy when it comes to eating. And he bets, more than half of all the energy here has already been eaten by Piggy, so he could only sigh, since being a mushroom is too disadvantageous. He continued thinking of a way to gather all the energy into one place. With no choice he called out for the system, but it still tells him that he couldn't undergo class change. But he just ignores it, and went straight to look at his inventory, and was looking for anything he could use. After that he went to his attribute panel, and was looking well hard enough, so he saw his decompose ability was now ready to be used. Then he looks at the divine tree, and since he is here already, he might as well play it big, so he used Jetstream, and spin majestically to land on the Divine Mother Tree's head, which made Piggy worried as she was circling around. But he tells her that it is okay, and to just sit down and watch him. So she did, and now he calls onto the great Divine Mother Tree, and apologizes for what he is about to do. As he sits down, his cheeks on her head to commit heresy, and started decomposing, and its component was a biomatter, plant, inwood type, so the decompose ability has increased its effectiveness. Now condensed magic power was entering his cheeks, as he was serious about decomposing it with all his might. Then the system warns him about the immense amount of energy, and absorbing it may cause him unknown changes, so it asks if he wants to continue, which he already reached to a point of no return, so he continues to absorb it all. Now this made his level and ability increased exponentially, but Wazi has no plans on stopping, absorbing everything, from the leaves, to the branches, and to every part of the Divine Mother tree, as it now dries up, and whittles away. But it wasn't enough for Wazi, so he keeps on absorbing it to the last drop, and now even the beautiful figure of Mother Tree is drying up, and as he absorbs it, his dump truck was expanding, and after the intense event, the decomposing has finally comes to a conclusion, and now his cake evolved into a whole bakery, since there's still way too much energy left over that he couldn't absorb, as he struggles to hold onto it, while he tries his best absorbing it, and with all his willpower and dedications he tries to prevent it from coming out, since he knows what will happen if he fails. But it wasn't enough, as his chrysanthemum couldn't help it any longer, so it blooms, and Wazi could only shout while a great amount of energy comes out from his cheeks. As he cries in agony, the energy ricochets around the place, and it hits Piggy, and as the chaos happens, the village head woke up, but luckily he decides to continue sleeping in his room, beside the sealed golem's left hand, and it turns out its unsealing requirement is a bunch of snail shells. Meanwhile, the other energy that came out from Wazi's cheeks flew out from the village's head's house, and now traveling from place to place, and it lands on few familiar figures, such as the Boar Chieftain, the 2 Mushroom General. The energy even got to the Castle of Time, and hits a doll, and some energy even landed on the Sunken World, in the Pentachrome Desert, the Source Volcano, Land of the Dead. That night, a shower of beautiful lights illuminated the night sky of the entire Brave Mainlands, as if heralding the coming of a new era. The following day, the place was trashed because of what Wazi let out, and it seemed the system was acting strange, and it turns out it was upgrading, and it consumed 5 million experience points. Now the monster system has been upgraded to a Brave system, and it congratulates the hosts for successfully changing class into a Mushroom Brave, and it only awaits confirmation. Wazi opened his eyes, and couldn't believe that it worked, so he didn't hesitate to accept his new class. Instantly, his mushroom hands became human, so Wazi checked his face. Now Wazi confirmed he had turned back into a human. To check if he is not dreaming, Wazi looks at his other mushroom, which it was present, and greeted him, making him ecstatic. Then Wazi wonders where Piggy went, so he decides to stand up and find Piggy, but since he was a mushroom for so long, he feels a bit weird to have a human body again. Therefore he needs support with his hands to stand up, but he accidentally touched Piggy's face. Now Wazi tries to wake up Piggy for them to leave before the village head comes, but he soon realizes he is touching 2 piggies, which Wazi turns around to look, but he was so surprised that he started bleeding from his nose, while he asks who is beside him. But before we show you the images, the mushroom police arrives, since it detected an abnormal amount of lewdness. Therefore it just puts some tape here and there, for a more family-friendly experience, and before it leaves, it reminds the viewers that lewdness is temporary, but regret is eternal. Now let us go back to the scene. Wazi was shocked to find out that there was a beautiful woman beside him, and he wondered what her identity was. He slaps his face, because he has just turned into a human. He assumes that he must be hallucinating, since he doesn't remember anyone else being here last night. But then he realized something. Now he wonders if the beauty in front of her is Piggy. While he was in deep thought, she wakes, so he turns away for her to not feel uncomfortable, but she jumps towards him instead, which 2 piggies also greets him. She embraces him because she is happy to see her mushroom was okay, but Wazi couldn't hold it anymore, as her 2 piggies were on his face, so he pushes her away, as he tries to calm him down, and convince himself that Piggy is so cute and innocent. How can he take advantage of her like a pervert? Can he still call himself a human if he does that? And with this he obtained a new ability, called Sage Mode, while Piggy still hugs him, but now the Sage Mode can make him keep calm. Then he can sense people outside of the house. Now he realizes what situation they are in right now, and that if the people outside comes in and see the mess he left here, they will definitely be caught and punished. In panic, he turns to Piggy, but his sage mode level is too low and cannot suppress higher level of stimulations, as he nosebleeds. So he took out clothes for them to wear, and it was a good thing they have this robes he looted from those magicians. Otherwise, even if they were able to escape, they would still be caught and punished as perverts. While Piggy sniffed the robe that Mushroom used before, as Wazzy was thinking of a way to escape, with no choice he decides to use Spore Explosion to create a diversion and escape the chaos. But he knows this place is too big, so he will need to release it with all his might. But he just lets out a small fart, which he questioned what happened to his abilities, while Piggy tries to cuddle Mushroom again. But Wazzy stops her since he knows they have to get out of this place as soon as they can. So he tries Spore Explosion for the second time, but he just farted again. Now he felt despair as he wonders what happened to his abilities, so he calls forth for his system, which it appeared and informs him that his abilities did not disappear, but because the body of a human is different from a mushroom, he will have to relearn how to use them. So he asks it sarcastically if it thinks he has a time to relearn them right now, but the system just informs him that it has been upgraded, so it suggests the best way to get used to his new body is to do the brand new mission, as it requires him to eliminate 10 level 20 monsters, which made Wazzy more angry as he shouted at it for only knowing how to give missions. So the system just asks Wazzy to choose a name for himself instead. This made him more furious as he asks it if it is ignoring him on purpose, cause what he need right now is an information to get out from this place, as he shouts at it, because all the other people's systems try to help them get stronger with cheats and OP skills, but it on the other hand, only knows how to ask him for money, and all he wants is his OP cheat ability, which it replied that he never gave it money. While this made Wazzy speechless, it tries again to ask for his name. Wazzy now realized that it is better to rely on himself, so he just accepted a random name that the system generated, so he could proceed to look at his inventory. He looks for something that might be useful for them. He even puts his head in to look more closer, while the system asks him to be gentle, since after being upgraded, it has also gained emotions and human intelligence. After searching for a while, he finally found the recall scroll, and they should be teleported back to the fountain if this works. While he remembers the system said monsters can't use it, and although he looks like a human and has human class, he has this feeling that he is not entirely human, as the village head finally woke up. So now they don't have time to overthink it. With no more options, he activates it. Now a magic circle formed below them, while he hopes for it to work. At the same time the people has started to get closer. They close their eye in hopes for a miracle, and when the village head and the newbies arrived at the scene, they were both surprised, as the village head sees all the mess, while Wazzy successfully teleports. While the newbies were saying it must be the energy that shot through from here that the whole village was talking about, but the village head explains that it must be because there were less people for the ceremony this time around, that the energy from the divine tree was too dense and caused a little commotion, so he tells them not to worry, and just follow him to the tree, while he states that he has been here for so many years and that he has seen it all, and even if something did happen he can easily take care of it. As he arrived at the place where the tree was, he soon realized that he was wrong, as the Divine Mother turned into a grandmother, shocking everyone who witnessed it. Meanwhile, Mushroom and Piggy have now teleported to the center of the village, as other humans teleport to the spot as well. Now they can sigh in relief, while Piggy is curious about her newly acquired body as she feels her hands and feet, while Wazzy is thinking the change from a monster to a human body is too big, and now he can't use his abilities, and his movements are a little awkward. Therefore he decides to focus on getting used to his new body before anything else. At least with a human appearance, it will be a lot easier to do things. He can also gather information on Golem's followers a lot quicker. As he was in deep thought, his concentration was broken off due to the people looking at his general direction, so he realized they were looking at Piggy rolling around the ground and was showing too much skin for her own good, so he tells her to stand up and listen to him. Now he realizes he needs to settle their basic necessities first, and decides to buy Piggy some clothes and food, which makes her excited, as they first visit the tailor shop to change clothes. Next was the weaponsmith to acquire a weapon, and just like that, Wazzy's gold coins are gone. Now he only has enough for a few more days of lodging and food, so he needs to find a way to earn some money. While now he realizes that life is simpler as monsters. Then Piggy tugged at him to look at him with puppy eyes while pointing at the snacks, which he didn't mind to buy her something to eat, as this made her happy. At a later time, Wazzy checks his appearance. As he is glad to look human again, he notices there is something new in his inventory, so he wonders where he got it from, as he assumes that it was because he used Decompose on the Divine Tree. Therefore, he acquired a Divine Tree branch. It only has +1 attack, and he has to charge it with magic powers too, so he felt discouraged to use it, and decides to try it some other time, since understanding his body is the most important right now. So he looks at his attribute panel. As he saw it, he asks the system if it made a mistake since he couldn't believe he leveled up over 30 times, but he doesn't feel any stronger. He was so shocked he even asked the sleeping piggy, but she didn't respond. So he used appraisal on her, but he failed to use it. He asked the system that even if it couldn't give him the abilities back, it should at least tell him why he couldn't use them. The system answers that the body of a human and a monster are completely different, and the way his abilities activate and release are also different. First, he needs to feel the magic power inside his body. Although humans aren't as sensitive to magic as monsters, they have finer control over it. It suggests the hosts to close his eyes and concentrate on feeling the magic power coursing through his body. So he did just that, and use appraise once more. Now he can see Piggy's attributes, which he was surprised she is level 47 now. They both got so strong all of a sudden, but then he got a sudden headache, so he asks why, to which the system answers that it was because humans have finer control over magic. They have to consciously turn abilities on and off. Otherwise, overdrafting the mana in his body can cause him death, giving him a little heart attack. But luckily the system was only joking, as it clarifies he will just lose consciousness at most. And thanks to the new upgrade, the system learned how to make jokes, which Wazzy didn't enjoy very much. Hit that like button and thanks for watching.